Where is this being produced in the Gambia? Who is doing it? And how are you doing it? Because until proven otherwise, for me, I still feel that I need to dig deeper to see. It's like a fairy tale to me.
Facts that a lot of Gambians don't know. Maybe few Gambians actually know the potential the country has. We happen to come by a very interesting and mind-boggling publication, which is backed by the legacy media, such as Al Jazeera, BBC, and all the elite media, international media around the world, that Kazakhstan, which is termed as a transcontinental nation, which means it is one part in Europe, Eastern Europe, and the other part in Central Asia. According to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, that is index, over the past 10 years, exports to Gambia, to Kazakhstan, have increased at annualized rate of 447% from 121 million in 2013 to 2.91 billion in 2023. The mind-boggling thing is about nuclear reactors. I really cannot fathom how and where Gambia has some of these resources, natural resources. So this is the gist of our special edition tonight.
Thank you very much for welcoming me on our program of enlightenment. And we'll try our best to do justice to the topic, inshallah. And then I believe the commentary you made was for us to reflect on it. I mean, I think if I hear you right, you said things began in 2013.
Yes.
Which is an opportunity for us to begin with the essence and importance of continuity when it comes to state matters.
Yes.
And here is one area that people who are occupying the seat of power today, or I would say who are running the affairs of the country in terms of the government, would come to know that some of us are not after governments, but we are after what is of national interest. Because if it was to cherry pick, we might have just been biased with the data and then begin with 2023. Okay, but that is 2013 was during the former regime's time. Okay, so 2013 to 2016 was about 3 years. So mathematically, the current system, if all that we are seeing on this data, like you said, the elite media, these are not media houses that would just jump on any country and start, speculating. They don't do that. They go by facts. People can go to data, they can go to archives, not only from Wikipedia or I would say Google. I believe during our research, when my own research matches yours, I think some of it, in fact, can be drawn from, I think, if I quote you wrong or right, correct me, but I think the CIA fact book is part of the sources that we access to see certain things, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay. So now, when it comes to Kazakhstan, I was looking through the list, and I said, in one of the things I posted on my Facebook, I'm praying that this data is wrong. Okay, so now we are not going to follow people. You see, I'm laughing because individuals who occupy the seat of power in our part of the world are people who are associated with those who occupy the seat of power, do not even listen to what is genuine. in observation. Some of these things are not criticism, they are observations. And if you observe a trend, nobody is saying this person is responsible, this person is the one shipping these things. When I see on the listings like nuclear reactors, I mean, I was like, really? Okay, for example, there was a time that sand was being mined in the Gambia. But this is not a question of the actual product being shipped from the Gambia. This was like, for example, if you say there was a time that, let me go back to Sierra Leone before the 1999 vicious war, around the early 90s, towards the mid 90s, towards the 1999 fierce war in Sierra Leone. There was a center called the Serra Rutile Mining Area. And the rutile sand, some people believe it is what they use for, part of what they use for making spacecraft, and some of it also could be used for making some medicine, the rutile sand. So what kind of sand were they mining in the Gambia too? Okay, during the former regime, we all heard about the Carnegie saga and all those things. So the people who import or export that sand, sometimes we say sand is used for making glass and all that, but it depends on the type of soil, because there are soil scientists in the Gambia. They know what we are talking about. It depends on the type of, product that you are also, digging, mining, and sending. Some will tell you the sand was being shipped to China. Yeah, who knows? Others will tell you this and that, because there are raw materials. West Africa is endowed with raw materials. Only a question of knowing where you can find them. Okay, look at what is happening today in Senegal. The new government is unearthing and discovering a lot of things about the Sabadola, about some things that were being mined. So the issue is, when it's about national interest, there is nothing like somebody in the government will come and say, no, what you guys are saying is not true, this and that, the social media, this and that. Some of us are not that type of social media they're talking about. You don't do due diligence. If you are so much in a hurry because there is money with it, okay, you are going to end up plunging your country into a bottomless pit of woes and misery. So the reason why I'm saying this is that when you talk about Kazakhstan, nothing against Kazakhstan, because we remember when the USSR was here. We remember the war between the USSR and Afghanistan. In fact, according to research, some people say Tan means land. Like when they say Kazakhstan, it means Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, it means land. That according to what I was told by somebody. So when the breakaway happened, and then when the war in Afghanistan was over, kind of, between the USSR and Afghanistan, some of these countries also found a way to separate themselves from these two bellicose, giants, USSR, Afghanistan on the other side. And then they would be on their own. Okay? So if you are dealing with those countries, nobody is saying that somebody is in the Gambia, because let me be specific here. The continuity of a state. Who was responsible of starting the business in 2013? Who was responsible of signing that deal? I understand that Gambia has an embassy in Kazakhstan. That's what I understand. Well, if that is the case, and then data is out, people are talking about Kazakhstan, because the words are clear. Import from Gambia. I think that's what we saw, isn't it?
Yes.
And then I went to dig more, because I become concerned. Allah knows that I don't wish Gambia to be stained in anything. And the position of a government is not to come out issuing press releases, going against people like what they call Tanchante si pincha. No. This is not about that. This is more serious. It's all inclusive. Every professional, home and abroad, everybody who is a Gambian, when these things start happening, the government can open up to those people and you find a way. Because at the end of the day, we have seen governments that were involved in this. Where is Charles Sale? And today, where is the situation in Liberia? We all remember the gun running saga with the Millennium Airline. And that Millennium Airline is still listed as airlines that were registered in the Gambia. And we know what happened with that Millennium Airline. It was accused of gun running. True or false, the data is there. People are accessing it. And like you said, the elite media is taking it out, talking about private jets that have disappeared here and there. That's what brings me back to the Millennium Airline. We all remember, may Allah have mercy on him, the Babandi Sisoho saga about the Derby Airline and the stories we had.
With these mind-boggling revelations,
mm-hmm.
and when you decided to do your own reading, your own personal reading and reflection, what actually comes to your mind about the $2.91 billion? And then here I'm going to see on my screen for us to understand the publication that ran this this how do you call
it's always good to do that for the audience.
Yes. So from the publication by the Observatory of Economic Complexity Index, they categorize country by country. And then to think about it, Gambia is categorized with main trading partners such as China, Guinea-Bissau, India, of course, Russia. And then of all those countries in the Gambia's category, Gambia in 2023 recorded $2.91 billion in export. So what does this tell you, Ambassador C, about the Gambia? I mean, we are a poor country. $2.91 billion is not small, it's not chicken change, or it's not peanuts.
Well, I would have uploaded any mechanism that brought that in place or a system had it been there. We have recorded that high volume of export, and then we took that money to erase our debt with the IMF. I would have been uploading that. That would have been good. Even if it is what other countries may do. You may not have the resources, you may not have the industries. You are dealing with other countries that may not want to be importing those things to raise the alarm. And then some countries would do that, and then they will come in your country with the machinery, produce it there, and stamp it as product of the Gambia. Some people can do that. Okay? Let's say, for example, today, for us to access a market, we open the market to, like, we open the doors for Bangladesh, for example. Bangladesh comes to the Gambia. I'm not saying that's what they are doing. I'm just telling you, when people are investigating, they will follow the thread and find how are you able to do this. And then investigators, intelligence officers and all that, they write scenarios like movies. And then it is within that scenario that they will keep inserting the actors and the actresses of the network that they are following. That's the way they will, like you always like using the word algorithm. I like using the word association of variables. That's the way they catch people.
And compare them also.
Exactly. So, for example, if a country would do that, I'm not saying that's what Gambia is doing, because it becomes mind-boggling. In fact, it's unthinkable. If this data is true, where in the world can Gambia get that product and that capacity of exporting that amount? Even importing it is not possible, let alone exporting it. Okay? So, the possibility, if where a scenario was to be written by analysts in a laboratory of analysis, the possibility is a particular country X is mark X or question mark, the possibility of that country being able to export 2.19 billion. And the country's data per NASA images, per geologists, per hydrocarbon deposits, or anything in that country, when valued, cannot be at that in that tune. Where did they get the product from? If it is true, if any country does that. Now let us even take Gambia out. Let's just like a scenario of country X being the one, not Gambia. The possibilities are here. If I were to be if I were to be given the case file myself and then asked to say what are the possibilities of them doing that, what I would have said was this: the country that is receiving the products, knowing very well that Gambia or country importing it is not possible, let alone exporting it. Okay, so the possibility, if where a scenario was to be written by analysts in a laboratory of analysis, the possibility is a particular country X is mark X or question mark, the possibility of that country being able to export 2.19 billion. And the country's data per NASA images, per geologists, per hydrocarbon deposits, or anything in that country, when valued, cannot be at that in that tune. Where did they get the product from? If it is true, if any country does that. Now let us even take Gambia out. Let's just like a scenario of country X being the one, not Gambia. The possibilities are here. If I were to be given the case file myself and then asked to say what are the possibilities of them doing that, what I would have said was this: the country that is receiving the products, knowing very well that Gambia or country X cannot do it, would be bringing the machinery on the ground and then producing those things and shipping them back with a stamp called produce of the Gambia or produce of country Gondwana land or whatever it is. Okay, that's one scenario that is possible. But right now the X factor is, if this data is true, where is this being produced in the Gambia? Who is doing it? And how are you doing it? Because until proven otherwise, for me, I still feel that I need to dig deeper to see. It's like a fairy tale to me. But when things are a fairy tale for investigators, they also want to transform the fairy tale into reality when facts are being discovered. Now, it will no longer be a fairy tale. It will be a question of controlling the narrative and then produce a convincing data out of it. That's going to be the issue. So for me, it's like, Mr. Balde, to be honest with you, I will still maintain to say, if this data is true, I'm really worried.
Why?
If it is true.
Why are you worried?
I mean, when you hear words like nuclear reactors, these are signals on the grid, on the map that nobody jokes with. Even the big countries don't joke with that. Now, for example, another scenario is here. Country X is not suspected to even be close to be able to do this, remotely. That's what some big players would find out. A country that would not be even under the radar, nobody will even think about that country. For example, you go to that country, okay, and then be doing your stuff there. It will pass through country Y. Country Y is a transshipment going to country Z. That's another possible scenario also. So that's why it is always, people have to be very careful when you are within this within this equation. You have to be very careful because the intelligence officer, the investigator, thinks of the unthinkable. Hypothesis is not always wrong, but you have to be hypothetical, and then you have to say, what is behind hindsight? What is thinkable? What is possible? What is impossible? You start asking yourself very, very, very hard questions to be able to immerse yourself. Now, the last stage would be immerse yourself in the mindset of the one who wants to do this operation.
You're saying, in a nutshell, that Gambia probably is used as a front by another country.
No, I'm not saying this. Is why I said I'm speaking professionally, universally. It's not to shy away or falling short of it. Remember what I said? I said, if this data is true, because for me, it's still a fairy tale. I'm not saying Gambia. I said, any country that is mentioned in it, be careful. You could be. In fact, I feel sorry for our country if that's happening. I feel sorry because some of the people within the within this circle there, think that the fact that you drive GG is enough for you to be an expert. Because these big players in the outside world, they will always run to smaller countries to do certain things. Do you remember the container that was intercepted in Nigeria during the former government?
Exactly.
When they were saying that they were shipping into the Gambia ceramic tiles?
Yes.
And then it was later on discovered that those were not ceramic tiles. What were they? I think they were arms from Iran, isn't it?
Quite right.
Yeah. So you think that data is gone?
No.
It's not gone. Look, investigators, whoever they are, wherever they are in the world, I can call you today and say, okay, Ibrahima, where do you work, Isa? I said, I can tell you, oh, I'm working at John Hopkins Hospital. Well, actually, I'm an operative. Because what I am after is to detect what anybody else would not be able to detect. Okay? That's why people go through rigorous tests in these things about Gambia. I'm praying for it just to be some misnomer or some data that is entered wrongly. That's what I'm praying for my country. I don't want this to be true.
Why is it difficult for you to process this? Like the scenarios you are given, country X, country Y. Is the Gambia, you are born and bred in the Gambia and you've, served in the country for so long before moving as ambassador or outside the Gambia. You cannot process the fact that Gambia has some of these resources that are quoted in these elite media publication.
No, because the list is too long.
But what actually strikes you most is about nuclear reactors.
Yes, exactly. Just on one point, but there are other. If you can even read it out for me, but there are others. I cannot memorize them. Very, very, very serious things on that list. You see, but I just picked that one, a nuclear reactor. This is something that any government would not take lightly. And you would not turn around, running around, trying to find people to accuse. Yeah, you are tarnishing my image. Nobody is tarnishing anybody's image here because the data is there. Now, what should be done is to come and explain how this happened. Okay? But if there is total silence, and then not only that, anybody who talks about it, you point an accusatory finger to that individual. That's not a serious way to defend a government. Some of the things that people talk about, you see, had they been listening to some genuine critics, some professional analysis, not Essa, but other people are on the ground. Some people write it. There are WhatsApp groups and everything. People keep on talking about some of these things they need to be. Look, today in the Gambia, if you go, where do you go to register your business? Ministry of Justice. Okay? Then from Ministry of Justice, where do you go to get the certificate?
What do we do with all that money?
Well, like I said, if it was to be true, and then I hear that that money is used to eradicate our debt at the IMF, I would not criticize the government for that. As long as the product that was exported from the Gambia, according to the data, true or false, let them go and ask the data, not us or the elite media, okay? Now, this data is posted, what people looked at is posted by the Kazakhstan government itself, isn't it? Because they're the ones, the data is from them.
Yeah, actually the data is published in a website that is on economic trading
Exactly.
around the world. And it also lists some of the products which Gambia has, like fish, natural resources,
Yes.
and elite companies such as Costco here in America, IKEA, Amazon, just to name a few. There are a lot of international corporations that are also involved in trading because the website lists country by country, companies, and even the products, the money. It's like the countries around the world, not only Gambia, but in the category where Gambia actually finds itself is the Gambia is top with regard
Yeah,
to the
I've
export.
seen it.
Yes. So that begs the question. Then we must be a very influential country to
Yeah.
have all these
You see,
resources. And being a natural.
there was a time when it was reported that Gambia on the barometer of Afrobarometer, sorry, some people would come and then start saying that they are going to counter that. For me, countering that shouldn't be done, but with comparison. Look, Gambia is 79, United Kingdom is this. You don't do that. I don't even want to compete any country, whether it is United States of America or France or United Kingdom, when the data is stained, when it is bad. Even if they score higher and I score lower, fine for me. I'm a smaller country. But I don't. What makes me disrespect some people is when they come on televisions or radios and trying to bring a comparison of figures.
Yeah, it's called Observatory of Economic Complexity Index.
Yes,
And then
correct.
what actually is further even mind-boggling is the fact that in the economic index, Gambia occupies 138 position. And then Kazakhstan, which is our so-called trading partner, is ranked 71. So
Yes, so the distance is too far. You remember when I wrote something weeks back where Gambia was like among 188 countries. I don't know, it was 88 or something like I don't remember the figures about, cleanliness and food quality and all this stuff. Which is the index of the food quality index or something like that in the world. And we have an institution that is assigned that role. People enter the country. You say Gambia has to understand, Gambia government in particular has to understand that Gambia cannot be an island. Because you know why other countries come? It's not to influence. They know that we are interwoven as a world community of nations. Anything that comes out of another country and is not observed, which could be hazardous, and you still want to say that you are part of the world community of nations, you have the right to export and to import. They also have the right to check what is coming out of your country.